All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back for another week of Just a Fan podcast. And hey, first I want to say we want to thank everybody for tuning in last Thursday for our live draft show coverage. That was our second year in a row. We plan on doing it again for year 3. So please be on the lookout for that. And 2026, as we cover different players coming out of college to change their lives and go professional. All right. Tonight, we are going to recap this 2025 chaotic draft because, man, it was definitely chaotic. But let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, okay? Y'all know me, Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia. Oh, I did say I was going to change the thing, build the trenches. I did not. My mistake. I'll try to do it next week. Anyway.
It's still true.
But you still build a game in the trenches, though.
It's still true. It ain't gonna never stop being true.
Anyway, on to the side of me, on the screen, panel 316. Mistakes were made, not by him though. And he's just telling the truth, man. He's a good guy with the black hat. There were a lot of mistakes made in this draft, and we're gonna definitely cover these mistakes.
I'm an anti-hero, so I'm gonna just tell you right now, we about to drag.
I like that.
We about to drag some people, some GMs and some we about to drag. They about to get drugged for real. Tonight we doing some dragging. There's a lot of people about to get dragged on this show. I'm just telling you right now.
All right, man. And that means panel about to bring that fire. But down below is another person that's gonna bring that fire tonight. Steve Space Age White, man. What's up?
What's up, man? I'm here, man. Crazy draft weekend, man. I loved it. I loved all of it.
Hey, man.
The Sanders thing.
We're going to cover that as well, man. So, all right, gentlemen. The Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason, first what they did was they was trying to get their head coach in order. The head coach who they really wanted did not want to be under the previous general manager, Trent Baalke, who's Eric's favorite general manager of all time.
I can't tell if he left or not the way they was. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
man. And so Jacksonville's like, okay, well, we really want this head coach, so let's get rid of Trent Baalke, okay? So they do that, and they hire Liam Cohen to be the new head coach, with the weakest Duval chant I ever heard in my life. And they
he's asking them what they do.
And so they hire a new general manager, and the new general manager comes over from the LA Rams front office, okay? And so, they make their moves in the offseason like everybody else does, and then it's draft time. It's draft day. No more overalls, Cam Ward, but then we get this big trade announcement almost immediately. The Jacksonville Jaguars give up pick number 5 overall, a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and next year's first-round pick to move up 3 spots to number 2 overall where Cleveland was. And draft Travis Hunter, cornerback / wide receiver from Colorado. Now, what this tells all of us is that this is your new franchise player. What's up, Cleveland?
What up, Cleve?
You're going to build your team around him, to me, offensively and defensively, because you're giving up your future for this guy, which means hold on. I know. Wait. I'm going to take you in. You're going to have to build your offense around him. which means he's going to be your feature receiver. You have to build your defense around him at corner. Okay. Also, what's up, Donald? To me, the expectations are this. He's going to have to be a top 5 player at worst at both positions, a top 3 player at best.
Okay.
You need to go to numerous, you need to make numerous all-pro selections. You might need to win a couple MVPs, and you definitely got to go to the Hall of Fame.
Well,
Let
me tag in Steve, since Steve is ready to go. Sorry.
Well, this is the thing, man. Like, you're Jacksonville, right? So you need that big name. And no offense to Jacksonville fans, but you need the big name, right? You need the best player available. They need to sell. This is a small market team that has not been successful. With Cowboys fans, Niners fans, like Washington fans, like, this is Jacksonville. They got to do what they can do, be somewhat relevant. And getting Travis Hunter, it does that. Just being real. There are levels to this, man. That's just my input.
Steve, I love what you said. Go ahead, Eric, because I got something. I got to respond to that too as well.
Oh no, wait, because I'm gonna condense the nonsense right now. Okay, so first thing first, Jacksonville did all of that in essence just to lose the division to Houston this coming season.
Yep.
Jacksonville acted like they were a team that was one player away from them being championship contenders, which is a fallacy.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So you give up your 5th overall, your 36th overall, your 26th overall, and your first round draft pick next year, which probably is going to be in the top 16, the top half of the draft next year. Yeah. For one player who is a non-quarterback, for the sake of relevancy, you know what makes you relevant? Winning a lot of games. You know what helps you win a lot of games? Drafting a lot of players, especially when you like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who ain't nobody checking for.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So relevancy for bringing in one big name player, that again, he probably still gonna play really well because Travis Hunter is a phenomenal player. I ain't taking that from him. But to give up a king's ransom to move up in the first round of the draft to grab one player, one player, thinking that's gonna make everything all right, is the dumbest thing I ever seen in my life. And that's why I got Jacksonville down as one of my biggest draft losers, because those are players that you're gonna potentially need. You had a pick, another pick in the top 100. You had one just outside of the top 100. And in this draft, with this amount of talent that was in this draft, a pick 126 overall, you can find a starter if you're good enough. So, you got a new coach, you got a new GM, and you sit up here acting like you just don't have arrived. Like, but you're a playoff team, and you just need one player to put you over the hump from Kansas City. You can't get past Houston.
But hold on, wait. But Steve, here's the thing. Okay, and my voice is in and out because of what of my excitement from this past weekend. But anyway, now Jacksonville is forced to hit on the rest of their draft picks from here on out, because if they don't, then you just gonna have Trevor Lawrence as an expensive quarterback, Travis Hunter, and God knows what else. Because that roster right now really needs to go through some serious changes because of the previous general manager. Now, from what I understand is because the general manager came over from the Rams, he was under less need when they traded all those first-round picks for all-pro players. So I'm not sure if he's going to follow the same formula. So far, it looks like he's trying to, even though Travis Hunter hasn't been to the Pro Bowl yet. But if Jacksonville's trying to win something now,
but they're not, and
But why? But my thing is, why not? If you're not trying, because you might be trying to follow the same formula, and like I said, you're going to have to hit on your draft picks because you don't have a first round pick next year.
Right.
So that means you're going to hit on your whatever you got in the second round, third, fourth, five, six, seven, and you're going to have to hit on your rookie free agents. You're going to have to hit on all these guys because, like I said, if you don't, then you have an expensive quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, and what else?
I'm agreeing with both of y'all. We're saying the same thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying there are levels to good GMs and front offices and bad ones.
Well, then this is definitely bad. So far, to me, it's bad because you're not.
Yes.
If you want to be relevant, you have to build a team. That team really needs restructuring before making a big splash like they did bringing in Travis Hunter. Again, I understand you need to be relevant.
Right.
But that comes with time.
And many GMs don't know what they're doing. Many GMs don't know I don't know why the Giants GM has a job. There are many GMs who don't know what they're doing, is what I'm saying.
And I agree.
What I'm saying is, we're saying the same thing. What I'm saying is, I know what Jacksonville GM was thinking. Do I agree? No. But I know what he thought he was doing with this.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying I know what he thinks he's doing and what he thinks doing for his team. But in reality, man, it's that's not your need right there. Now he's the best player. Don't get me wrong. Big name. But when you're a franchise like them, and no offense, but kind of, Jacksonville's franchises, they're one of the worst ever.
Jacksonville hasn't done much of anything since that
they're
year.
They're one of the worst. So this is, a grab. Like you have to do what you can do to sell tickets. Oh, I want to see Travis on the play. They know they're not going to win a division. They know that. Like they know that. But hey, we're in the spot. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's just that, and then to kind of go on another tangent on the same topic. Talking about Travis Hunter is, are you gonna play in both ways? We talking about a 17-game season because they will play 17 games. I don't think they're gonna play anything past 17. But you're talking about a 17-game season trying to play both ways. Now, I understand if he's going to be a full-time corner and he's going to come in on some receiver packages, kind of like Deion did when he was with the Cowboys. Okay. I ain't knocking that. But then again, Deion did that during the 16
Way different. Way different.
Yeah.
And he played receiver at the most 7 snaps a game.
Right.
You talking about he's going against really good receivers and DBs on both sides. He can get worn down, man. I don't want that from him, man.
And we talked about this off the air. It was like, okay, started off in the SWAC, okay, which is small school. And then you went to the Big 12, which ain't the Big 12 it used to be anymore with the departure of Oklahoma and Texas now going to the SEC. So doing what you did in the Big 12, okay, that's nice, but that's not really like it ain't doing it like I'm talking about no more. So, this is the NFL, man. That means everybody you see on the field is a doggone star. And they got dudes on the bench that's better than some of the best guys you played in college.
You ain't lying.
So
you ain't lying.
This is a different story. So I'm not going to pass judgment on Jacksonville on that part yet until we see how they're trying to use it. But if they are really considering using his where, let's say he gets 50 snaps a game, 25 on offense, 25 on defense, that's too much for 17 games. And it ain't like he the most built up dude there is. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And what's his conditioning like?
It's not about that. It's you're talking about going that many snaps against top tier receivers and DBs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know the plan for him, but it's a lot of work, man. And actually this year, will be his aegis as far as competition-wise, as far as number one receivers and number one corners.
I'm just trying to see how he's gonna cover Nico and the other two receivers that came out of Iowa State that are now on the Houston Texans.
Exactly.
Then he has to turn around, play wide receiver, and have Derek Stingley cover him.
Come on now, Kwame Lassiter, who's
Rams. I mean, you're talking about this is if he's healthy the entire time. I mean, like it's a lot, man, to play against. They're not playing against Colorado State and Cashew not going to get drafted ever. You're playing against veteran players who do this. I think he should pick a position and stick to it, man, because it's going to be a lot on him, man. It's going to be a lot, man.
And from my film study, my personal opinion, I still feel like he's a better corner than he is a receiver.
I agree. I'm with you. He's just stick the corner. Stick to it. That's what I would do.
I think he's a good receiver, but a great corner.
That's what I would do if I were him. Yep. I agree.
And I'm looking at Jacksonville's schedule. They play Kansas City, which means you got to deal with Kansas City's offense, and you have to deal with who's the corner? If it's not McDuffie, it's the other guy.
McDuffie, because he doesn't, man. McDuffie out there eating.
Yeah. Then you got the Chargers. You have to deal with, and that's a physical team. You got to deal with the Rams, Puka Nacor, Seattle, Jets,
San Fran.
Yeah, you got San Francisco. You got Carolina,
the Jets,
Cincinnati. So you got those Cincinnati. You got those Cincinnati's, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with this season.
And listen, this is season 1. You're talking about.
He still got to learn all. He still got to learn.
He can deal with, man.
And hey, listen, you got to learn both playbooks.
Now, if I were a coach, I would put him into some nickel packages here and there, but I would not have him playing 50, 60, 70 snaps both ways, man. You can't do it at this level. You can't. Deion played receiver here and there, rarely for the Cowboys, man. Rarely. He'd come in, run a route or two. He was a defensive guy for us. Let's not get it twisted. He wasn't a number one receiver for us, man.
He was a defensive guy and punt returner. That's what he was.
Exactly. Nah, man.
That's what he was. So
I wish well for him, man, but
I do too.
He can't play a ton of snaps on both sides for years to come. He can't, man.
No. And you know, this all goes back to Jacksonville. I think you went from a GM and a coach that made bad decisions to another GM and a coach that makes bad decisions. It's like you spinning your wheels, you're in the mud. The wheels are spinning, but you in the mud. You ain't going nowhere. And
you know what?
And I said when they did that trade, I said they doing all of that just to lose the division to Houston again. And
like I said, they're gonna have to hit on draft picks.
They're gonna win.
You have to.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston is the big dog in that division.
Oh, for sure.
Until proven otherwise.
They the long dog.
Right, B. Right.
Yeah. Until proven otherwise, they had a phenomenal draft. Houston is like, there's some. Of course, let me qualify it. On paper, they had a phenomenal draft by who they picked. Now, these guys could all bust. I doubt it, but these guys could all bust. We're saying when we say a team had a good draft based on their needs and the personnel drafted, it was a good draft, if that makes sense. But yeah, man, you out here trying to play against these guys, and Travis Hunter can't cover all three of them guys at one time.
Nah.
And and to be fair, go down the line, you went in the third round and drafted Caleb Ransom, who basically had a fourth to fifth round grade. You reached for him in the third. That's another corner.
But though, they had to reach for him because you didn't have a fourth round pick.
Hello. So basically, they painted themselves in the corner.
And that's why I just said you have to hit on these draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope Jacksonville puts him in, like you said, he should be a DB, first. And I really hope Jacksonville moves him in that receiver here in the slot or whatever. But he can't split snaps on each side like he did in Colorado. He can't do it at this level, man. He can't.
No, I don't see it.
That's
Now,
nobody.
if he is able to do that, I'll be the first one to come on here and admit that I'm wrong.
Hey, same.
I'm like, hey man, this dude out here tearing it up. He eating. I'll come in and say, hey, maybe he can handle this. Cause I don't know if Antoine is on tonight, but Antoine's like, what's to say he can't do it? The probability of it is not very good. We're not saying it's impossible, but it's improbable.
And that's hoping he stays healthy, which I think we all do.
The health is huge.
You see more athletic players getting hurt, being a designated number one, WR1 or DB1. So it's like if you're gonna play 60 snaps like consistently, we're not talking about rookie year. I'm thinking about his entire career, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has to go against the NFC East, and the NFC North. DB and receiver, that's gonna be a tall ass. The AFC North, AFC, East. So
AFC
West, exactly. Yeah, that too. Like we'll see, man. Hope they treat him right, man. I'm happy for the kid. I hope they treat him right, man.
Yeah, because he's going to command a heck of a salary. Because I want to see how good his agent is going to be working this salary out for him. Speaking of salaries and working things out, another loser in the draft who clearly did not cover all their needs, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like you quarterback starved. You watched Shedeur Sanders pass you by several times, and several other quarterbacks who I might add. You didn't like. What are you doing? Like, and they just signed Robert Woods today, and I remember Brandy said, "Hey, the Steelers just signed Robert Woods." I'm like, who gonna throw in the ball?
It might be one of us.
It might as well be one of us.
Hey, listen. I come out there play quarterback for the veteran minimum. Coach, give me the playbook.
They waited to the 6th round to draft Will Howard out of Ohio State. And I'm sitting up here going, okay, so you got Mason Rudolph and Will Howard competing for you for snaps. That's not a very promising prospect. I mean, Will Howard played pretty decent with Ohio State, no doubt, but you gonna go with Mason Rudolph and then switch to. I mean, I'm just saying that it doesn't look good.
Now, here's the thing with Will Howard. He might look decent at Ohio State, but let's be real. Look at the players he had. He had Geno Smith's cousin as a true freshman at wide receiver. I can't think of the dude's name right now. Okay. You had those 2 running backs, Quinshon Jenkins and I think Trayvon Henderson. And you in a very successful Chip Kelly offense. So, of course, you look good. Almost anybody would look good at quarterback in that offense with those players. So, now, granted, he does have Pickens and Metcalf.
The crash out twins.
But that's the problem. They have maturity issues. And
that's not good for a young quarterback.
Right.
That's not
especially a young rookie quarterback.
You miss him a couple of times on the pass, they're gonna let you have it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be there, man, it's not gonna be pretty.
Right. So my thing is you don't have a quarterback on your roster. Okay. You have some under contract, okay? But you don't have someone that's going to change the fortune of your team.
No.
Now, I know Mike Tomlin has one with Kenny Pickett, okay? I will give him credit.
Heck of a coach, I'll give him that.
But at some point, all that luck got to run out.
And the thing is, they're still contemplating. Well, they're contemplating the contemplator and that is Aaron Rodgers, whether he wants to come and play there or not. And it's like, okay, is Aaron Rodgers going to come play here? Aaron Rodgers playing in people's face right now. I mean, you don't really want to just put it that way. He
is.
Now see, what did y'all see?
That's what he does. That's what he does, man.
Did y'all see the Pat McAfee show talking about something? Well, I'm not really retired, but I'm not really ready to sign yet. And I'm like, you know what? See, this is why
playing in people's face.
I'm not a head coach or a general manager, because someone like Aaron Rodgers that would have said, hey, look, I want to play for your team, but I'm not sure yet. That's why Aaron Glenn let him go, because see, Aaron Glenn comes from Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells says, look,
no nonsense.
Well, not just that. Bill Parcells was like, look, if you're thinking about retirement, in Bill Parcells' mind, you are retired. And that's what Aaron Glenn took it as. So Aaron Glenn said, you out of here.
We ain't got time.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah.
You're either committed to playing or you're not.
Yeah.
And so, again, me personally, I wouldn't wait for Aaron Rodgers. I would have gotten a quarterback in this draft. But if Aaron Rodgers retires, you stuck with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. Good luck with that. And those crash out twins.
Yeah. I just, the only solace that I can give for Pittsburgh is the fact that Mike Tomlin is a great coach.
Yes, that's it.
And because of that, they'll figure out a way to be somewhere over 500 again.
Hey, listen.
Still on the outside looking in when it's time to contend for a championship. You know, it's like you're spinning your wheels. You're spinning your wheels.
My thing is this too. Pittsburgh is really, really wasting time on some of these players who are just keep getting older and older and older. TJ Watt continues to get older. Cam Hayward continues to get older. Minka Fitzpatrick continues to get older. I mean, at some point,
Now, I will say this: they did draft for replacements for like guys like Hayward, like Derek Harmon was their first round pick. I liked it. You know, Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State, edge rushing. That's potential replacement for TJ Watt.
I get that, but then you're telling me you have really wasted the careers of a Fitzpatrick because who you traded for from Miami. You wasted TJ Watt's career and you wasted Cam Hayward's career. I get all that. I get the replacements. I understand.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree with what you're saying about wasting because you're spinning your wheels. You're wasting time.
Yeah,
these guys are in their peak, and you're really not going anywhere. You're not falling back, but you're not moving forward either.
Right.
And that's why I got Pittsburgh as one of my biggest losers for the draft. And I know that may not be a popular opinion, but I'm Pando 316. And eventually I'm gonna be on here saying you can sit up here and talk about your draft picks, you can talk about your Will Howard, but Pando 316 says I just proved you wrong. And it's gonna come sooner or later. I may be wrong, but I tell you what, I'm more right than I'm wrong. More often than I'm wrong. So it just doesn't, they don't look like they're ready to compete in a stacked AFC North.
Yeah, it's obvious that Baltimore's going to end up winning that division again. We'll see what Pittsburgh does.
Cincinnati got a little bit better.
As long as Cincinnati got a little bit better on defense, Cincinnati could end up being the second best team in that division.
Cleveland, once they figure out who the hell the quarterback going to be out of the 12 quarterbacks they done drafted, or they brought in rather, still have on the roster, Cleveland could actually make a little noise,
Any given Sunday.
So realistically, any given Sunday. And I get that reference because you talking about
two quarterbacks.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, for the movie. Yeah.
Flacco is Dennis Quaid and Shedeur Sanders is Jamie Foxx, which is a great segue because we really need to talk about this. I had a bunch of people coming up to me after Thursday's draft.
Who?
After this weekend, I had
call
people
them out.
Me. Huh?
Call them out, man. Who?
No, just co-workers, friends, and everything. I know y'all gonna talk about the Shedeur Sanders thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what they were like, dog. What you think about the Shedeur Sanders thing? I said, Tune in to Just a Fan Podcast.
Man, let me tell y'all something. So this is
but there's people that were like, I know y'all gonna talk about that. I say, oh yeah, we finna talk about that.
listen, man. Shedeur Sanders thing is crazy because this guy was projected as a at least a second best quarterback in the draft. Now, some people might have had it. Some people might,
pick, man, they had him high.
some people might say he was the third best quarterback. Some people might say the fourth best quarterback. Okay, whatever. They were saying he was expected to go in the first round.
Paige and Tristan.
And the first round came and went Thursday night, and we were all baffled.
Stunned.
Friday night came.
It got even worse.
Second and third round went and passed.
Yes, sir.
And we were all like, really? This guy has left day one and day two without getting drafted.
Yep.
Day three coming. Eric is doing his thing at work. I'm doing my thing football related. And I don't know what Steve was doing, but
we were all watching the tickers on our phone.
Right. We was all watching ticker, and we're like, this guy's really falling. And he fell out the fourth round, and he fell into the fifth round and was drafted by Cleveland.
Who had already taken a quarterback previously. And it's like, okay, what are y'all doing? Now,
so let's get into this, gentlemen, because Shedeur Sanders falling, to me, is the wildest thing I've ever seen. First of all, let me say this. This is not like Laremy Tunsil when you sit here and say, oh, look, he has a gas mask on his face because he's smoking wild parsley, okay? This is not like La'el Collins, who is being questioned by Louisiana State Police because some girlfriend he used to date has been murdered, okay? This is not like Willis McGahee, who's slightly fallen down in the first round because he's coming off a serious injury. This guy was supposed to be a first-round pick and fell to the fifth round, day three, and finally got drafted. Gentlemen, how do we feel about Shedeur Sanders falling like Niagara Falls?
I think it's a travesty, and here's the thing, because there are gonna be a bunch of people that's probably gonna be in the comments, probably already talking about this and whatever. And you got people, you got your pro Shedeur Sanders people, and you got your anti Shedeur Sanders people. You don't really have anything in the middle. It's very polarizing. The thing is there were accusations made by a GM / coach, whoever, that wants to remain nameless. Several of them that want to remain nameless. And that's really big. I need y'all to make sure y'all paying attention to what I'm saying here. That want to remain nameless and have drugged this man's character through the mud. There is no proof of anything. They said, well, he's brash. He's arrogant. He feels entitled. He's this, he's that, he's the other. It was the worst interview I ever had. Here's my thing. And I'm talking to everybody that has something negative that's a GM or a coach to say about Shedeur Sanders and his character. If you are so dead set on saying those things, why you didn't put your name on? Because look at me. I'm right here in this camera talking to you. You can see who I am. I'm Pandora 316. I'm saying what I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this is how I feel, and this is my name. And I'm not hard to find. But why is it? Because I'm trying not to do Dr. Umar. But why is it that you got all this negative stuff to say, but you can't put your name on? Come on now. But you want to call him brash. You want to call him arrogant. You want to call him entitled. This, that, and the third. But there have been other quarterbacks who've shown it. We've seen the brashness, the arrogance, all of the entitlement. But you know what they say about those quarterbacks? Oh, he's got moxie. Oh, he's got confidence. Oh, yeah, we like him. Let's call a spade, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people do not like his father, and they are trying to punish this man because of what they don't feel about his father or what they feel about his father. Now, Tristan, I know Tristan might come in later. Tristan's our quarterback whisperer. And you put all that aside and you look at the X's and the O's, Shedeur Sanders was the most pro-ready quarterback. And I'm using Tristan's words and he's seldom been wrong. He was the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft. It wasn't Dylan Gabriel, who's just a little bit taller than a fifth grader. It wasn't doggone Jackson Dart. Let me see your snap count. Do you have a fake count? It wasn't him.
The clapper.
It was Shedeur Sanders. Okay. Now, again, you got the Shedeur Sanders hate as well. You know, he's this, that, and the third. It's like, okay, what about Baker Mayfield? Because they love to play whataboutisms. I'm gonna play some whataboutisms. What about Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield was, and probably always will be a prick. Oh, he went high in the draft, did he not? He's on his what, 4th, 5th, 6th team?
But that's
double standard. Yeah. The double standard.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. I think Baker's a bad example that people put out there on social media. You know, he did win the Heisman. It's a bad example. I agree with you. Shedeur is better than arguably everyone besides Cam Ward, and probably better than him.
Cam Ward has more physical upside, but Shedeur was
but there were so many QBs drafted over Shedeur that are not better than him.
Of course, absolutely.
Absolutely. And so I agree with you with that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm agreeing, man. It's they want to say his dad involved and all that kind of thing, but he can play, man. You know, so we know it was a farce as far as how low he went. I mean, he should have went second quarterback overall, but you know he didn't. It's crazy because we know we see many drafts and we do the show every week for 4 years strong, and we know that like who ain't gonna be anything as far as QBs. Like we know, like I'm not naming names, but we know who's not gonna do anything in the league. We know who's not good. You know, we've seen drafts before where Heisman winners and number 1 draft picks cannot play. So the fact that he went that low is crazy, man.
It's criminal.
It is. I'm not saying he's the best, but
no,
5th round. Come on,
but he's not exactly. Thank you, Steve. He's not a 5th rounder. He's not the best quarterback, but he's not a 5th rounder. But in this draft, he probably was the best. And I said, and y'all remember I said it. I said, I hope wherever he goes, he gets an opportunity and he burns the league down.
I hope he becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, I hope he burns. Because right now, if I'm Shedeur Sanders, I have this incredible chip on my shoulder the size of Mount Everest.
Man, I hope he tears it up. Man. He's gonna be great.
Listen,
I will study like I've never studied before. I will work out like I've never worked out before.
Grab that playbook, lock yourself in a room. If you have to ask coaches questions, you ask questions and you take notes.
He's gonna be great, man.
And the only time you come out the room is to go to work.
I kind of love it, man.
Use the bathroom.
Because what they have done, and I'm gonna use Admiral Yamamoto's words from the Japanese Navy right after they bombed Pearl Harbor. He said, "I fear all that we have done is awaken the sleeping giant." And Japan got their ass kicked in World War II.
I love it, man. I think he got. I mean, it was terrible, but he got humbled in the right way, man. And he's already a great quarterback, great college quarterback. I think he's about to tear it up, man. I
hope Cleveland builds around him and do right by him, man. You gotta build around him because Joe Flacco's there for a year. Deshaun Watson's out of there soon, so that leaves you with what? Dylan Gabriel, who's 5'11", Shedeur Sanders. Who's the other quarterback on that roster? Anybody else?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh Lord,
there's like 5 quarterbacks on the roster. It's like is Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders.
Stop it.
The best quarterback right now on that roster is Joe Flacco, but within
And the only reason why Joe Flacco's the
year.
best quarterback is because of the amount of experience he has.
Experience. That's why I'm about to say, because of his experience. And after this year, the best quarterback on that roster will be Shedeur Sanders.
The only quarterback that should be on the roster, well, of course you bring in backups, but the only quarterback out of these guys that need to be there next year is Shedeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Because Flacco need to retire. Deshaun Watson's going to be gone.
You need to retire too.
Kenny Pickett need to retire or just go play in the UFL, go play Canada. And Dylan Gabriel, whatever. You know, maybe he'll be on the practice squad or something. But a couple of comments I like by Carl Stewart here. And I really do hope that Shedeur Sanders make teams regret passing on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, I mean,
and thank you. Wait, put that other comment up, please, because I want to address that. Thank you, Carl. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, the Saints, you on my list for biggest losers too.
Well, let's jump into that then.
Shedeur Sanders fell in your lap about 3 times in that draft. You didn't have to move; he just fell in your lap, and you picked Tyler Shue, the man who could not throw a slant at the combine, to be your quarterback. Derek Carr, you don't know when you're getting him back. You got Jacob Hayner, zestfully clean. You got Spencer Rattler, who has proven, who's basically proven that he can't really get it done. And you pass. I know I've talked to some New Orleans Saints fans because I'm friends with a lot of them, and they were 38 high behind that. Mickey Loomis may not. He may turn up missing in New Orleans. I'm just saying right now, they serious about their Saints down there. I'm just saying, they serious, and they don't like what he did. I'm just saying. But Steelers, Saints, for the Shedeur thing, and then Jacksonville for the giving up a king's ransom for one player.
And
those are my 3 biggest losers in this draft.
And I want to get to this real quick, you know, because they talk about the league, you know, losing control and setting the tone. I get it, but listen, you have the right talent and you win. That's all that matters. You can be about setting the tone. You can be about making an example. But you get the right guys in there and you win games, that changes the whole conversation. And Shedeur does become a good crop.
Winning is the best deodorant.
Exactly.
Period. Winning is the best deodorant. But you got to have the tools that you need to win.
You don't have a quarterback. You don't have an offensive tackle because your right tackle retired, your left tackle, you didn't pick up the option on that. If you drafted somebody.
They did Kelvin Banks.
I say they did draft Kevin Banks.
Mm-hmm. That was probably one of their better moves. But
that's what I'm saying. Like when people complain about like Dion and the media study call it certain, like, dude, he gonna make his son a winner. Winning trumps all. Like, you know, he's about winning. Listen, multi-draft picks don't have, I'll just say, dads in their lives. You know, they're not winners. Like, Dion's about winning. You know, his sons are about winning. They can wear jewelry they want. They can be on social media. If they win, you make more money. You're successful. That's what it's about.
You know what?
Crop of family, man.
Let me say this. Let me say this. You can be so successful in the league by what you do in the playoffs, especially when you get to the Super Bowl. I told Steve this. I said, look, when you look at the Cowboys and a lot of former Cowboy players that have made it on TV, and he had mentioned, you know, a few players. I said, you know what? Those are the bigger name players. You had guys at smaller positions be on TV. You had Moose Johnston, who was a fullback, be on TV. You had Jason Witten, who was a tight end, be on TV. You had Darren Woodson, who was a safety, be on TV. Okay? You don't get that too often in the league. Okay? And Deion Sanders has 3 things that money can't buy. NFL Hall of Fame jacket, College Football Hall of Fame jacket, top 100 greatest players of all time jacket. But that's because of the amount of success he has had. He's, like you said, Steve, he's been a winner. everywhere he's been. And if you want to be a winner, really, that's what he was. That's what they were promoting the whole time. If you want to be a winner, bring me in. Just bring me in, and we can win.
You know what you're getting. You got a lot of guys who you don't know who they are. You know who Shiloh and Shedeur are, man. You know they're gonna do their best. You know what you're gonna get. They got heart. Like you know what you got, man. Roll with it.
Yeah, it's. I just feel like getting back to falling in the draft like that. It was some form, and you can call me conspiracy theorist if you want. I'll take it, but it was some sort of collusion. This was planned. This was not. You can't sit up here and tell me that 32 teams. Now, to be fair, there's some teams that didn't need a quarterback, but we just go ahead and say 32 teams. 32 teams passed on this man 4 times in a row, sometimes more than 4. You can't make me believe that. They thought he was really a 5th-round talent. You can't convince me. You can't make it make sense to me. Someone who was touted as arguably the best quarterback prospect in the draft and sensibly the second best. You know, Jalen Milroe falling? Sure. Jalen Milroe is a physical specimen, but he's literally a running back that can throw. He's so freaking raw that, you know, now could he develop into something? Absolutely. You know, but the most pro-ready quarterback in this league was Shedeur Sanders.
Well,
in his draft, excuse me, I said in this league. In his draft, it's Shedeur Sanders.
Well, I tell you what, while those 32 teams were making mistakes, there's one team in Canada who wasn't making a mistake. And here's a comment about it from Donald. So we all know Shedeur will make the Browns, but this was just reported. The Toronto Argonauts have added Shedeur Sanders to the negotiation list.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian Football League. Toronto will have exclusive rights to sign him.
If he does not make the Browns 53, he can go to Canada and already has a contract in Canada, which I have no problem with. And he may have to take the Warren Moon route. Warren Moon had to go to Canada and win, what was it, 3 Grey Cups?
No, I think he won 5 of them jokers.
5? Okay. I
think it's 5.
He competed for more than 5, but he won 5.
I'm gonna share a stat on Shedeur. He was number 1 in completion percentage, passing when he wasn't under pressure. Mm-hmm. And we all know
that offensive line was not good in Colorado.
Exactly, and he didn't have time. I mean, he got receivers drafted, but the boy can play, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the NFL, he'll get pressure. I get it, but that's a crazy stat, man. I mean, that's a great stat.
And I just like to put out there that there were no linemen drafted on either side of the ball out of Colorado. Their issue has always been Colorado was the trenches. And I've dared to venture to say that Shedeur Sanders would probably have better stats if he had better protection while he was
Of course.
Already phenomenal given what he had to work with.
But and here's another thing too. You said offensive line. That team was really in rebuild mode still.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember how bad Colorado was before Deion Sanders got there.
It was horrendous. The fact that they got to a bowl game, even though they did not win it, the fact that they got to a bowl game was impressive enough.
Could you imagine if Shedeur really had a if Shedeur and Deion had a full 4 years together and then came out? I think you got to talk about Shedeur Sanders way different than you are now.
Yeah.
Had they been there together the whole full 4 years. They were only there for 2 years.
I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for this kid, man.
I hope he makes it to the Hall of Fame. I hope his numbers are fantastic enough to make it to the Hall of Fame. And I hope it starts week 1 of the 2025 season. Stay healthy and just be successful and just dominate.
Just eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just feel some type of way. And then as we segue, because we're still talking about Shedeur Sanders, but this is a good segue. you got people who are just, I've seen all kind of negative memes and just silly stuff. Like that was one that somebody, they retired Shedeur Sanders jersey in Cleveland just because he got drafted. Stupid stuff like that. But then you got, you got these little trolls that are basically prank calling players and telling them that they're drafted, pretending to be NFL GMs and NFL coaches, calling players, telling them that they're drafted. Jeff Ulbricht's son, Jax Ulbricht. This man, you don't play like that. You don't play with people's stuff like that. Like we can segue into that, and I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna defer to one of you gentlemen first, and then I'm gonna give my 20 cents because I don't give two. I'm gonna give my 20 cents on it when you're done. But Jax Ulbricht, the prank caller, the son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbricht, basically got a hold to his dad's NFL call list. Now, for a lot of y'all who don't know, when a player declares for the draft, he has to give all his information to the NFL offices. So all of the coaches and GMs have their numbers, so they can get in contact with him, whether it's for meetings, personal workouts, so on and so forth.
Part of the draft. Yep.
Yeah, so all the pre-draft process. So, there might be one of the 30 visits or something along those lines. So all the coaches have privy to these phone numbers. Well, Jax Ulbricht got a hold to his dad's list and decided on draft day that he was going to prank call players. It was not just Shedeur. Shedeur is the most notable one. And tell them that they've been drafted, pretending to be a GM from wherever. Tell them that they've been drafted, and then right as they get excited, say, "Nah, it's just a joke. You still ain't drafted." Click. Now, I'm trying to figure out a diplomatic way to put this. You know what? Damn that. He need his ass whooped. I said what I said. You're a 21-year-old man. You're old enough to buy drinks, and you playing on the phone like that, like you some little 14-year-old.
And you playing with people's lives.
You playing with people's lives.
Because these football players have worked hard from youth football through high school and now college, and they going to go pro and see their lives change. These gentlemen have worked hard, okay? When you play high school football, you have to have a certain GPA, depending on what school system you're in, to play football. But then to go play college football, your GPA needs to be much higher. And it takes a lot of sacrifice to make it there. And then it makes even more sacrifice to go pro. You play, like I said, you're playing with these kids that have just worked hard to be the best, because you're competing with people in your hometown, whether it's your city or county, the state, the East Coast, West Coast, South, whatever, and the entire country. You have to outprove so many guys at your position to make it to college. Then you got to outprove so many other guys to go pro. 250 players got drafted over the weekend. But there's a reason why 250 players got drafted, and not every single player that played college football to get drafted. That's a shame to sit there and stoop that low.
You playing with people. You playing people. Their emotions, their livelihoods.
Yeah.
Because you talking about some of these guys literally are, it's a life-changing thing to get drafted to the NFL, because they may not come from money. And you going from, even if you going from, maybe your mom and dad only cleared maybe $70,000 a year, to where you have $1 million.
And we're speaking on players other than Shedeur, right?
Yeah, because it was. I heard Tyler Warren's name was brought up. Now, Here's another thing I've heard too. From last year's draft, I heard Cooper DeJean went through the same thing.
He got pranked?
That's what I heard. So
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, wow.
Did not know that.
So this sounds like this might be a more than a 1 year, more than a year type thing, more than a 1 year thing type thing. So now, again, the NFL needs to continue to do the investigation because you said, well, with Shedeur Sanders, we're not going to do anything. Well, I think as more names start coming out, you really need to look into this and do something.
Yeah, it's got to be a tighter security on these phone numbers.
Yeah, of course.
And with that being said, something needs to be done.
It ain't that tough to keep a number on lock, man. Let's say what it is. Ain't that tough?
Yeah, you got to keep it locked tighter than Steve's black book. But look, you basically, people are saying that something needs to be done to Jeff Ulbrich, and I'm like, no, I'm in disagreement with that. His son is a grown man. Like, oh, Jeff Ulbrich, this should happen to him, and Jeff Ulbrich, this should happen to him. And it's like, there's already been false reports put out. Like, one of my chat groups, somebody put in that Jeff Ulbrich has been fired, and it's like, no, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
Get your news from better sources than just tabloid type stuff on the internet. But should Jeff Ulbrich keep a tighter house? Absolutely. But is he at fault for this? No, not to the point where he needs some kind of punishment needs to happen to him. Now, again, his son need to be taken out behind the woodshed. Somebody need to take a belt to his behind. Or like we say in the frat, getting the cut.
Well, I think he should be fine. I get it. His kid
did it, but should be fined.
Absolutely. This your house. This is your house. If you have that level of responsibility, you're making that much money. How can you be that sloppy to let your kid get that information?
Now we're not talking about hold on. We're talking about a 20-year-old man.
Hear me out. It's like a GM having his laptop open, the phone out, where son can mess with contracts on players. You gotta be tight with that, man. We're talking millions of dollars. $1 billion organization you have access to. Your kid can access your information? What is happening here, man? Hell no. No.
You know what?
Lock, bro.
You have a
you be in a room all weekend.
Jeff has
access, man.
Jeff has a very immature son.
Yeah.
Because to sit there and go through your parents' stuff, listen. Ain't no way in the world I'm going through my dad's business laptop when he was working. Ain't no way in the world I'm going through my mom's business work laptop. I don't know. Ain't no unless. No,
if they ain't not legit, then you have access.
No, Steve, stop.
Yeah, I can't go with you on that.
Stop, Steve.
It'd be different if Ulbrich was like, "Here, son, here's my phone," like that. But
I'm not going through my parents' stuff at work. I'm not.
Yeah. Let me tell y'all something. I got my office here and my real office.
I understand that.
When I leave my computer, I lock my screen.
Steve, I understand. Steve,
but I don't control billions of dollars.
Steve.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever visited your parents' job at work?
I have.
Did you go through their computer?
I didn't.
Well, that's just because you're high character, Steve.
But they didn't let me do that.
But
who's the adult here?
Steve.
That's the point we're making. He didn't let him do it. He didn't say, "Here, son, here's my laptop. Here's my phone. Call some players and break them."
Listen, I'm not saying something not responsible.
Steve. Why? Okay, I understand the parents said. Okay, I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, you also knew better not to be on your parents' jobs.
Take me out of it. You cannot give kids. You cannot expect kids to act mature, especially in 2020.
Pando. Was you afforded the same opportunity to go to your parents' jobs?
Let me finish. Let me finish.
No. Was you afforded the same opportunity to go to your parents' jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you touch their computers at work?
Heck no.
Okay,
Brandon.
then.
Brandon.
Steve.
Everyone's not logical,
Steve.
but it is the adult's
Well, then, Steve.
responsibility.
No, Steve.
It's an adult's responsibility
Steve.
to lock their stuff up when you a part of a $1 billion organization. You can't expect little Billy to, he's gonna.
Little Billy's 21 years old.
Little Billy is
Wait. Steve, the kid was 21 years old.
Okay.
When I went to hold on, listen. When I went to
let's bring you into it. Okay, Brandon, what would you do, Brandon?
Wait. When I went to my mom's job, I was younger than 21 years old. That's a grown man making adult mistakes. Not a 14-year-old, not a 7-year-old making mistakes. Okay, this is not Rugrats where you got Tommy Pickles going through his dad's stuff.
We're saying the same thing. He's an adult.
He's 21 years old.
But as a executive,
he's 21 years old. He's not a little boy.
Brandon, I'm agreeing. Give me a second. Listen. He's an adult. He made a bad decision. He's responsible completely.
He made a bad decision.
But who has more access to $1 billion organization?
I understand.
His daddy.
So don't touch your parents' laptop.
His dad.
Don't touch your parents' laptop. Don't touch your parents' laptop.
Brandon, we're saying the same
Don't
thing,
touch your parents' laptop.
Okay, Brandon. Let's talk.
Again,
let him go. Let him talk.
Let me talk. But at the same time, Brandon, Ulbrich is an executive for several billion dollar organization.
I understand that.
Hold on. So no matter how good or bad the kid is, it's my responsibility. If I have this authority over finances and players to keep that under lock. His dad should be responsible as well. What are you doing, man?
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave it alone. If Pete head chef, whatever the hell his name is, can give away war plans and nothing happened to him, I don't think Jeff Ulbricht's kid breaking into his laptop is worth him getting fined for. And I'm done.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, how do your son have access to that kind of information? Because me thinking this can go different ways. Like, okay, call Shador celebrates, and he can talk trash about other organizations. This is that and that. That can hurt draft stock. You're losing money. If you have that authority, no matter what your kid does, you have to lock stuff down when you have that kind of authority.
I understand that. Don't touch your parents' laptop.
I agree with that, Brandon. We're saying the same thing. What I'm saying is the dad was irresponsible as well, right or wrong.
Or unlock, don't touch it.
Okay, again, my question, was the dad irresponsible, yes or no?
Not really.
Oh, my goodness.
And actually, no. Hold on. Let me flip it here. Here's the reason why I agree with Pando. Because you know how many coaches and GMs have their laptops at home or take them home and they got the same information, and then this been going on for how long? How long we've been doing this?
Since the digital.
If someone gets information off of your
how long we've been doing
laptop,
this?
And I do this. How long
we've been doing this?
If someone gets information
how
off your laptop,
have we been doing this?
Is it who's
how long have we been doing this, Steve? How many coaches, GMs, and owners have the same information? How long we've been doing this?
If someone gets information,
hey, let me ask you a question.
Who's at fault?
Did you hear anything about the Dallas Cowboys organization? Yes or no?
This is my question.
Yes or no?
If you have your information,
did you hear anything from the Jacksonville Jaguars information? As dumb as the traders they made, did you hear anything from the Jacksonville Jaguars information? Yes or no?
Brian, do you hear me?
Did you hear anything from the Philadelphia Eagles?
Who owns the information?
The Rams.
Who has
the Chargers, the Chiefs? All other 31 teams had the same information.
I think what Brandon is trying to say is that this is an outlier and it's not like the norm. But the norm is for these coaches to have that stuff, and they're at home, and basically this kid, I'm gonna call him a kid, even though he's a 21-year-old man. He set out to purposely do this. And here's the evidence of that. You got your boy filming you, calling these doggone players. You knew what you was doing. Okay, so that means you had planned this out. That means you took the extra time and the effort to make sure you got this stuff from your dad. And it's like sneaking in the dad's liquor cabinet or sneaking in the dad's gun cabinet. You know, it's like, I'm gonna go shoot cans in the backyard, even though you can't discharge a firearm in the city limits. You know, and it's like, to say that Jeff Ulbrich deserves some sort of punishment for what his idiot, dumbass son did is I'm sorry, man, it's ludicrous.
All I'm saying is, my point is this: when we were kids and we went to our parents' jobs, we didn't do that kind of stuff. Okay, we were younger when we went to our parents' jobs. We didn't do that stuff. This was a 21-year-old kid. Okay, plus we did not have this problem from any of the 31 other teams. That's the other point I'm making. Also, we've been doing this digital. We've been doing this, like you says, Eric. We've been doing this since the digital age. That's all I'm saying. So no, it doesn't fall on Jeff. This falls on this 21-year-old young man who was acting like a high school kid.
Falls on both.
Okay,
you gotta lock stuff down when you have information for
All right.
an organization that has billions of dollars. You
Okay.
have to lock your stuff down.
Okay.
If someone comes to your office, and steals your keys, your office is open, you went to lunch or whatever, and does something bad with it, they're at fault. But shouldn't you have been more responsible with locking your office?
I'm not leaving my office open, but
I'm saying this is hypothetical,
Okay.
As an adult, you're responsible. Adults are responsible for stuff.
Okay.
They are.
All right.
He's responsible for having a cell phone.
Okay.
Is he not?
Technically, honestly, if you really want to get into it, if something like that was to happen, at the worst, I get like a verbal reprimand. Hey, you need to keep your keys up. I'm not going to get docked any pay.
You're a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Okay.
My point is, I'm not going to get a punishment for something like that. And you're saying that they need to throw the book at Ulbrich.
No, I'm not saying that. He should have been in the war room all damn day. And if not, lock your stuff up. Lock your tablet, your phone, your devices up.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Both are responsible. I'm saying both are responsible.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's a jerk. He's an a-hole. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that part. I'm disagreeing with Ulbrich needs to be fined. No, man.
No, I didn't say that. I said he was responsible as well.
No, you said he should be fined.
Well,
you said that. Yes.
Well, he should be.
No.
Okay. Should be. Keep it
at best, he should get a verbal reprimand from his team.
Nah, he need to be responsible.
At best. Hey, man, you need to do better and keep your snot-nosed kid away from the stuff. That's it.
Snot-nosed kid.
I'm thinking about if he thought it was real and he was ignoring calls after that and said something crazy about other teams, like I ain't gonna go to so-and-so anyways, that would have hurt his draft stock and his money.
I mean, hell, his draft stock and his money already.
It could have been snowballed, man. If he came out verbally, and they're very vocal family on social media, so he could have talked trash about, I ain't messing with the Browns anyways because they ain't give me blah blah blah. He could have easily said that if he believed that. Thank God he did not. That would have hurt him. If he said that, he would have been drafted probably.
Okay, so here's the thing with that. The one thing that Lil Snot-Nose did is when he called, he made him believe that he was Mickey Loomis, and then after Shedeur believed it, he was like, "Y'all, man, you still ain't getting drafted." Click. So right there, he knew he was being pranked. He wouldn't have went out, and there's no universe where he's going to go say, "Well, I didn't want to go to the Saints anyway." You know that wasn't the real Mickey.
When you prank call, you can say anything. If you didn't say that last sentence, it could have went bad, man. Like, this is serious, man. This is. If George said the wrong thing,
I'm not saying
it's hurt his draft stock, man. Like, man, I ain't f with the Browns anyways, man. Thank you. You get anyways. Oh, what? Boom. What would have happened? What would have happened?
The point is, I think we agree on a lot of stuff, but the issue is that you're saying that Jeff Ulbrich should have the book thrown at him for his son, something his son.
I'm saying that it should be a penalty for his irresponsibility.
His grown son.
It should be a penalty for Ulbrich's irresponsibility. It should be, man. It's my opinion, but we can carry on. What's next?
Actually, that's the show for tonight. So, I mean, that's it. Brady, you got anything else?
No. So, what? You crazy, man.
Go ahead, man.
You crazy. You know that?
Take us out, man. Take us out.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, that was another week of Just a Fan podcast. Next week, we're going to talk some more draft stuff, especially high-profile players. We already covered Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, so probably won't be covering those two next week, but we'll cover some other guys, probably more like a Cam Ward, Ashton Gentry type players. Also, later on this offseason, before the preseason starts, for 8 weeks, we will be covering division by division, and try to get an idea of how we feel these teams are going to be ranked. If you want to be in on the discussion because you want to represent your favorite team in that particular division that week, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook. If you know us personally, hit us up personally and let us know that you want to be on. Okay? So
I also like to say before we sign off, we had 114 viewers on our live draft show this past Thursday. We want to thank every last one of you who tuned in, whether it was part of the draft, the first round, or whether it was the whole thing. You stuck with us through the whole 4 hours. We thank you, and we want to tell you to go ahead and bring in some more people and get them to like and subscribe our channel. But we definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, and yes, we do. Thank you. But if you're a fan of the Jaguars who made a stupid trade and you want to be part of the AFC South conversation, join us.
Yeah, I want to see you defend that. Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals and you feel like the team might be the second best team in the division, get on the show and let us know why. Okay? We're very interested in what you got to say. All right? So, also, we're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, IG, and Facebook. Okay? That direction next door to me on the screen, panel 316. Mistakes were made, not by him. Good guy with the black hat. Down below, Steve Space Age White.
Peace out, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace, everybody.